What is going on, everybody? It is your boy J Ray from Ray Photography coming at you with a podcast. And today we're going to be switching things up from the usual podcast, and we're going to be talking about music. Why exactly? Well, I figure I'd let you guys into my life a little bit. It's such a huge part of my everyday life. I wake up listening to music. I drive to work listening to music. Sometimes I'm in school listening to music. Don't judge. All right, I'm paying attention. Don't worry. I've just got it in the background going on. It's just such a big part of my life. So I figure I'd let you guys in, tell you a little bit about my history, my favorite artists, a few opinions that I have. So let's just get right into it, right? So growing up, I didn't listen to music all that much, just like on the radio. My dad always had Rock 107 on. He's a big Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen kind of guy. And then maybe go a little past that, you get like some more like AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, all that. But he was more whatever you consider Bon Jovi, that kind of rock. So I grew up listening to him, and, a lot of, it kind of peeves me a little bit, and this is just a little tangent. It peeves me a little bit when people say they're Bon Jovi fans, but they only know Living on a Prayer. Like, come on, like, sure, that's a great song, but he has a lot of other great songs, a lot of good songs by him. But anyway, I don't listen to him as much these days as I used to. So I didn't really choose what I was listening to growing up, off through maybe elementary school. But once I hit middle school, I hit puberty, and that's when things kind of got like weird. I didn't turn into like that weird kid, but I was always really quiet and outspoken in most situations. I was just low key under the radar, and I started getting in my head a little bit, and to distract myself from that, and also to try to tune out other people or whatever. Not like they're like yelling at me, but just be in my own little world. I put on a pair of headphones, put in some earbuds, and start listening to music. And that's when I started really enjoying, I wouldn't say appreciating as much, but I was just enjoying the music. Like I was in a whole different world where things weren't weird and awkward. Puberty, how that works. So I started off listening to a lot of dubstep. Of course, a lot of dudes had that kind of phase in their life. And I was like heavy into Skrillex, of course. And then there was this other band called Knife Party. We found one of their songs from Breaking Bad. It's called Bonfire. Still a banger to this day, but I don't listen to that as much anymore because it's just not like, I don't know. We'll get to that in a little bit. But other than like dubstep, I was heavy into that. I listened to a little bit like Imagine Dragons. I was pretty basic, honestly. Mostly still radio things, but whenever I put in earbuds, chose a song, it was usually that. I always despised rap. That was a big thing for me. I was growing up and I was like, there's so much cursing. I didn't curse at all until I was in junior year of high school. I was that pure of heart. I was like, no, I'm not going to curse. Didn't like rap because of how much cursing there was in it and whatnot. But I moved into high school and liking dubstep kind of, not that it wasn't as mainstream, but it was just more weird. And I hate to say that I was trying to like conform, but like that was kind of what I was doing. I stopped listening to it because no one else was listening to it. And they were like, oh, you're weird for dubstep, even though there are some good songs. To this day, sometimes if I'm driving, I'll just put on some dubstep and just jam out in the car. But that was when, ironically enough, I started transitioning into rap and hip hop. And there's just something about it, man. Like, I don't know what it is. The beats to it, they always make me like, tap my foot. I'm ready to get up and dance and sing along. The lyrics can get kind of vulgar, but if you move past that, you get to the different flows and the different voices and all that. To me, it's just, I don't know. It holds a special place in my heart. I don't listen to as much pop anymore. I don't listen to as much rock or classic rock almost at all these days. My playlists are primarily hip hop and rap. And that started when I was in high school, when I started getting friends that listen to that kind of music. I drive around in the car with them, and there's just something about being in the car and you're all jamming out to like a hip-hop song. It's just so fun. You can do it with pop songs and all that, whatever. But for me, sitting in the car, singing Faucet Failure by Ski Master Slump God with 5 friends, like that was like peak happiness for me. I don't know. It was just so fun. It was just a great time. So they were all listening to hip-hop. It trickled down into me. I started listening to it more, and I was like, this is like some really good stuff. I'm loving it. I gotta look at my outline real fast to make sure where we're going. So, I loved hip hop. I was more so into the older stuff, maybe like 2015, 2016. I wasn't really branching out into new modern rap at the time, and that was back in like 2017, 2018. So then once I went to college, I decided, all right, maybe I should start broadening my horizons. And by that, I mean like listening to new rap that was coming out. And that was where I kind of ran into a problem because I wanted new music to listen to. The stuff I was listening to before was getting kind of old. Like there's still some bangers, and then like Sicko Mode is overplayed, but it's still good. A lot of Travis Scott songs. We'll get into that a little bit later. But a lot of the songs I was listening to before were just getting kind of old and repetitive. I wanted some new stuff that had the same energy, but was new. And that's, as I said, where a kind of problem came in. This modern rap, 2019, 2020, and then even this year, I'm just not a fan of it, really. Like Lil Baby is coming up, and I'm just not. I don't like his style. I don't like his style at all. He says weird flows. It sounds like he's like stumbling through all of his stuff. I don't like his voice. His voice is basically just copying Young Thug and Lil Wayne. I don't know. I just don't like it at all. Like Gunna, he's like okay, but he's like a dumbed down Lil Baby, so I don't like that as much. And then we have all these new artists that I don't even know their names, but I hear these songs and it's just like, I don't know. I cannot get into new rap. I'm still stuck in like 2018 with like Astro World, and then I'm trying to think of other albums off the top of my head, but just stuff like that. I'm really into the vibes. I'm not into these new short flows, weird stuff. So, as I mentioned before, I'm going to talk a little bit about my favorite artists, my favorite songs, and I'm sure you've been waiting for that. Because, as much as my opinion and as much as my backstory is nice, you guys want to hear what I have to say about that. If you guys aren't interested in hip-hop, sorry for putting you through this, but we're here anyway. So what? All right, we're going to go through with my favorite artists first, and I'm going to explain a little bit why I like them so much. So we're going to go top 5, and then we're going to go 5 down to 1 just to make it exciting. So number 5, I have Biggie Smalls, Notorious B.I.G., rest in peace. I mean, he's just a classic. He's one of the greats in the game. If you don't like Biggie's music, you're either from the West Coast and you still have beef for no reason, or you don't have a good taste in hip-hop, or you just don't like hip-hop in general. But if you like hip-hop and you like Biggie, I don't know what you're doing, man. His flows are great. His lyrics are great. His voice is incredible. There's just something about Biggie Smalls that is amazing, and his impact in the hip-hop community, it's incredible. Going down to number 4, I know you guys are going to laugh at this, those of you that are up to date with your memes and all that, but honestly, I am a huge fan of DaBaby. Now listen, you kind of gotta give me some time to explain real fast, all right? So when Baby and Baby first came out, I think in like 2018, maybe early 2019, I heard Babysitter featuring Offset, and I was like, yo, this song is great. And everyone around me was like, nah, this guy like sucks. Babysitter, and then Suge, like, man, he was like popping off, and nobody liked him, and they all thought he sucked. And then he released Kirk, which was like, all right, and then he released Blame It on Baby, which is where Rockstar and Roddy Ricch came in. And everybody started blowing up. Everybody was like, oh, DaBaby's great. And I'm sitting there like, yo, I said that 2 years ago. And nobody cared about him. I like his voice. I like his flow. He lives in Charlotte, which is right next to where my mom lives. So that's pretty sweet. I guess apparently she saw his car one day. She saw him driving by in his posse. I don't know. She could be making that up to make her sound cooler down there. Who knows? But number 4 for my list is DaBaby. Number 3, an artist that most of you probably won't know, Young Trav. He is a local artist from Scranton. He's from West Side. Man, I don't know. If Young Trav doesn't make it in the game, then I don't know who else will in this area, because he is easily the best rapper in this area. You call him a SoundCloud rapper, but he does have Apple Music, but he doesn't. They're all mixtape, doesn't have a label or anything yet. But man, Young Trav can rap. He can spit bars. No doubt about that. He is incredible. And, the punchlines that he has and the different metaphors and flows, like, you should go listen to Young Trav right now, YUNGTRAV. Look him up on any streaming service. I'm going to talk about my favorite song from him. It's on here, right? It's not on here. All right, well, whatever. My favorite song by him is One Move, but he also has a SoundCloud song called Not Your Man's. Go listen to it. I thought it was on here, but I guess I didn't put it on. Oh, it is on here. Okay. We'll talk about that a little bit, but look up Young Trav if you're into hip hop, especially if you're into underground hip hop. He is incredible. Moving down to number 2, we got to get moving here because this podcast is getting kind of long. Number 2, we have Eminem. I mean, a lot of controversy around his name, especially today with his homophobic comments about Tyler, the Creator, and whatnot. But you cannot deny how incredible Eminem is as a lyricist, as an artist, and as a figure in the early ages of hip-hop in the early 2000s. You cannot deny his presence in the hip-hop community. A lot of people don't like him because he's white. I mean, I'm white, so maybe I'm a little biased, but, like, come on. You can't listen to, like, Godzilla. You can't listen to, even, like, Love the Way You Lie is a little bit typical, but listen to, like, his, like, Slim Shady EP and all that. Like, dude, he doesn't even need me to defend him, all right? Eminem is one of the best of all time, one of the GOATs. Don't at me. And my number 1 favorite rapper, artist of the time right now, as of me recording this video, please don't make fun of me, Travis Scott. All right, I know, like, with his sponsorship with McDonald's and then, like, his whole the Scott's Fortnite concert and whatever that, like, he's become so mainstream that it's hard to actually genuinely listen to him and not, like, laugh and be like, this guy is just, he's just so mainstream. Like, he makes music that's pretty safe. It doesn't take risks. But when you think about the way Travis Scott was back in 2015 when Rodeo came out, like, that's not what he was. He was revolutionizing the game. He was like a young Kanye coming in, making these projects that have these underlying themes and this whole, I don't know. He's just, when he puts projects together, like, he only has 3 right now. Right? He's got Rodeo, he's got Birds in the Trap, Sing McKnight, and he has Astroworld. Those 3 projects are 3 of my favorite albums, and I don't know, man. I just heard a weird noise, so I'm kind of freaked out because I'm home alone. But we're going to keep moving on. Yeah, I mean, you know, Astroworld came out in 2018. It was so hyped. For 2 years, he was hyping it up, getting ready to get it out there. And when it came out, it is his current biggest album, Sicko Mode, biggest song, easy. I kind of enjoyed Astroworld. For me, it's his second best overall album, in my opinion. I love Birds in the Trap, Sing McKnight. I can listen to that all the way through and like all the songs, enjoy all of them. You know, a lot of people consider that his worst album, but for me, it's his best album. Rodeo is pretty good. The songs on it, like 90210 and Antidote and like Oh My Decide, are incredible songs. But as an album, not my favorite album. But all 3 of them are amazing, incredible. The entire albums, I can listen to them and vibe out. What is happening? What am I hearing? I don't know if you guys can hear that. This is the second podcast in a row I'm doing that. Okay. We've talked enough. We're going on long enough. I'm not gonna wrap things up, and I'm gonna start speeding up. This is probably gonna be longer than it has to be because you can tell I really enjoy hip hop. I love it. So speaking of my favorite artists, I also have to talk about different artists that are maybe not my favorite, not my least favorite, but what I'm gonna say is artists that I don't believe should be legends. And if anything is gonna get me flack for this video, this segment is gonna be it for sure. Just because an artist dies doesn't mean that their music is great or that their influence was that large or that they are a legend, right? Like Biggie and Tupac, they both died, and that solidified them as legends, right? They were already destroying the rap game. They were kings of their cities, kings of their coasts, right? And then they died, and that boosted their fame and solidified them as greats. But just because and you know, of course, like, rest in peace to all these people, I'm gonna say. But like, just because they're dead does not mean that their music is all that much better, right? So I'm mentioning 3 artists, right? So Nipsey Hussle, all right. I've heard some of his stuff. I was not impressed by any of it. People consider him a legend. He's not talked about as much these days as he was when he first passed away. You know, of course, rest in peace. But people were like, oh, legend, rest in peace. And some people still mention him in rap songs today, and I just don't see it. I don't think his music was there. I'm not sure what he did. I don't know. The next one's probably going to get me the most flack. Juice WRLD. Do not consider him a legend. I do like his music. He does have a few bangers. He has really good freestyles out there when he's on radio and talk shows and all that. He's a really great artist, but I still don't consider him a legend, right? I mean, you can argue that he was so young and he only put out, I think, 2 projects, so he could have come out with more and better things. He did have potential, but I just don't see him as that kind of legend, especially by the way he died. Rest in peace, Juice WRLD. But I don't know. And then, of course, another thing that kind of just peeves me is just how much he's hyped up. Like, I think if people were like, he's a legend, but that was it, they left it at that, I might be like, okay. But, like, people posting 999 all the time, and they're always sharing these different quotes and come up with these theories and stuff with them. And it's just like, leave it alone, man. Like, I don't know. People still bring it up to this day. And I think because people talk about it so much, that just shoves it down my throat. And it's like, no, I just don't want to accept it because I don't believe he is a legend. Last, I'm going to talk about Pop Smoke. He's the last guy I'm talking about. I don't think he is a legend either. I mean, maybe that one could be very subjective because I'm not a very big drill guy. I don't like the drill genre. I listen to some of his songs like on the radio and stuff, and it's just like, same thing like Lil Baby. Like, his flow is just weird, and his voice just doesn't seem that unique. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm Pop Smoke. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's anything crazy. I mean, of course, that's just me. I don't think that these guys are legends. Rest in peace to all of them. But just because they die doesn't mean they become legends in the rap game. This is a really long podcast. I apologize. I really did not budget my time correctly, but we got to keep pushing through this so I can finish things off. Top 10 songs at the moment right now. We're gonna fly through this. I'm going to give a brief explanation because I don't want to keep you guys too long. Black and Yellow by Wiz Khalifa. Just a vibe. Just a good song. I love it. I can always jam out to it. The beat's pretty nice. Flows are good. Bars are good. Good song. Number 9, we have Monster, which is Kanye, Rick Ross, Jay-Z, and Nicki Minaj. Love the hook. Love the hook for it. I love Rick Ross's verse. I wish he had a longer verse in it. He only talks for like 2 bars. I wish he had more because I really like Rick Ross and his voice. And especially him on this beat was really good. Jay-Z, of course, killed it, as he always does for everything. King of New York at the moment. And then Nicki Minaj is like pretty good. Queen of rap. One of the best female rappers out there. Okay, number 8, we have Runnin' by Tupac featuring Biggie and then some female artists that I really don't like. This song would be higher up on the list if the chorus didn't suck. The chorus is growing on me up to this point, but I don't know. It just doesn't fit in. Like, we have the hard rap beat. We have Biggie talking about shooting at police. We have Tupac talking about running from the, like high-speed car chases. And then the hook is just like some weird vocal thing by some girl. I don't know. I don't really like it at all. The hook. Biggie's verse is probably one of my favorite verses of all time at the moment. Just him on that beat. He kills it, as he always does. Running by Tupac. Also released after they both died, so rest in peace to them. But that song, I'm sure when it came out, I think it was like 2004. I'm sure it was huge beyond comprehension. I was only 3, so I wouldn't know. Number 7, we have Babysitter, as I mentioned before. I just love the baby. The beat is very simple, but good enough. He just spits out. He has amazing flows. I really like it. It's a good vibe. Offset does pretty good in this song. I feel like he kind of takes back the energy a little bit, but he's still good. He's Offset. I like the Migos enough where Offset is good on a feature. Number 6, we have Coordinate, which is from Birds in the Trap, as I mentioned before. My favorite song off of Birds in the Trap. It's just such a good vibe. Travis Scott is one of those really good guys where you can sit in the car, you have that surround sound, or you have good headphones and you put them on and you're going to hear the production value in his work, and it's just so good. It's so relaxing. You can just sit back, close your eyes, coordinate the tan with the bins in my rock star skin. It's just like, oh man, he's so good. All right. Number 5, we have 90210, also by Travis Scott. Of course, that's another big Travis Scott guy. He's got 3 songs on my top 10 at the moment. 90210, as I mentioned with Biggie, with his verse, 90210 probably is my favorite verse, now that I think about it. The second verse of 90210 is just so good. His flows are great. He talks from deep down in his heart, very personal stories. And the beat to it, the beat swish halfway through, Casey Hill, like 90210 is an incredible song. Even if you're not a big fan of hip hop and rap, you should listen to 90210. It's really good. Number 4, we have Applause, and this is a song that you guys are not gonna know about. And of course, I gotta tell a little story. So this will be its own story of its own. This will be the next podcast. I'm gonna talk about how I started my music career. Because yes, I am a rapper. You might not know that. Now you do. Everyone in the class is like, whoa, or they just don't care. Andy, you're probably pretty surprised. But yes, so I'm a rapper. I've been doing it for a little over a year now, about a year and a half once this video is up. And Applause is one of my songs that I did with a feature. His name is Jax Flame, out in San Francisco. And what I really love about this song is, of course, my verse. I feel like it's one of the best I've written up to date. It's a good flow. I could fluctuate a little bit more. Of course, I'm a little harder on myself than I am on everyone else on the list. And I really love the juxtaposition between Jax Flame and me. Like, he has a really raspy and deep voice, and then I come up with a little bit higher, and it's just really good. We just both spit bars for 3 minutes straight. It's pretty good. Number 3, top 3 right now. Boom, boom, boom. I didn't do anything for top 5 because I forgot about it. Top 3 songs at the moment. Right now, number 3 is Tequila Shots by Kid Cudi. Was it Man on the Moon 3, The Chosen? Yeah, it was a pretty underwhelming album compared to the other 2 Man on the Moons, especially because there was like 7 years or something between both of his albums. But it was a pretty solid album. Tequila Shots, starting off the album, was incredible. Easily the best song from the album. Unanimous vote. It's just so good. Kid Cudi's voice, along with the beat that was on it. I talk about that a lot, but like that's what hip hop pretty much is. It's the voice and the beat and his flows. Like it's just so good. Love Kid Cudi. Number 2, we have Houston Fornication by Travis Scott from Astroworld. As I said, not my favorite album, but for some reason, man, like Houston Fornication, I was a fan of it when it first came out, but like this past month and 2 months, I've just been jamming out to it. Like I don't know what it is. It's a very basic song. Like it's not one of his most popular songs from the album. I think there's like maybe like 12 or 13 songs on the album. It might be like barely in the top 10. It might not even be in the top 10. I don't even know. But there's just something about Houston Fornication, the beat, the vibes. I love it so much. And then number 1, we have Not Your Mans by Young Trav. Easily my favorite song right now. Go listen to it. It's only on SoundCloud right now. Not Your Mans, Young Trav. The beat is incredible. Young Trav on it, and his voice, and the way he fluctuates with it, and the way he spits, the way he raps. It is so good. If you don't like Not Your Mans, I cannot be friends with you, because that song is one of his best songs. I listen to it every time I listen to it. I'm like, this man's making it. This man has to make it. Like if he doesn't get some sort of big deal at some point in his life, I don't know what to say, man. Because Young Trav is incredible as an artist. Sorry this video ran so long. I didn't think I'd love talking about music so much, but as you can tell, it's something I'm very passionate about. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for listening. Tune in next time when I talk about why I started rapping, my motivations, my name, why I made that name. And yeah, tune in next time and talk about that. Thanks all for watching. Be cool.